My mentor is Kevin Lyle Thomas. Kevin was one of the first black hairstylists in Montclair. And I ran into him because I had gone to him to get my hair done. I was going away to England and somebody said he was the best. So I went to him. And one of the things he impacted me with that day was he made me feel different. And it wasn't about my hair, but he did something different. He treated me so beautifully, and his relationship with me was just wonderful. When I walked away from the salon, I turned around and I went back in and I said, "You just changed the course of my life." And he chuckled and I said, "You don't understand. I'm going to be a hairstylist, but I need you to train me." And he says, yeah, sure. So I left. Upon my return, 3 months later, I had applied to school and started school, and I called him and I wanted to work for him. And he said he didn't need any help. He was very sick, and he didn't need any help anymore. He had closed the big salon, he had reduced the size, and he hanged up on me. So I called him right back. And I said, "Do you work at all?" He says, "Yes, I do. I work 2 days a week from 12 to 4. I don't need anybody." And I said, "Do you have any help?" He says, "Yes, I do. I have a young girl who comes in, and I pay her for just the 4 hours she's here." I said, "Well, I'll be for absolutely free as long as you let me watch you." And he paused, and he says, "You sure?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I'm available." And the day I walked into his salon, it was a very small salon. It wasn't the one that I had gone in initially. I had in my hand the best of Barbra Streisand, because I remember he was playing Barbra Streisand that day. I had a huge bouquet of flowers because he had a beautiful arrangement on the reception desk. And I had 5 different flavors of coffee. I didn't know how he liked his coffee. So I showed up, and for the next 6 months, he impacted me in a most phenomenal way. So from him, I went, after he ended up being in the hospital. He was very, very sick. And 6 months into me working with him, he ended up in the hospital. So I couldn't work for him anymore. And I went looking for a job elsewhere. And I would start a day or 2 and I'll quit. I was looking for that same high that he had given me, that same excitement, that same energy, that same positiveness, and I didn't find it. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to back off. So for 7 years, I was home as a mother. I took off and became a full-time mom and raised my 3 boys. And when my youngest one was 5, I decided to open my own salon. What my husband didn't know was that I had saved up money from working jobs. I had a good friend who had a dealer's license, and he would go to the auctions and buy cars. And I said to him, I said, "You know, I have a little money saved up on my own. I don't want my husband to know this, but I'm going to come with you and we're going to buy a car. I'm going to fix it up and sell it." And that became a business. By my 10th car, I had saved up $22,000. And he had no clue. My husband had no clue. So that began Jewel Studio for one. When he saw that, he's like, "I have to help you. There is no way. You did this on your own. I have to help you." So we opened Jewel Studio 1 on a housewife's budget. We cut a lot of corners. The most important thing in the salon to us was that it was clean, and women appreciated that. And I didn't have enough money to advertise. I had, I think, $380 in the bank to my name. All of us, our name, that when we opened it. And through word of mouth, women coming through from all over. When I look back, I am so moved. Women would come from Harlem. Women would come from Virginia. We had a couple of clients from California. I couldn't believe how far women would come for healthy hair care. And it grew into phenomenal. And in a little corner in Saraville, New Jersey, Jewel Studios has grown tremendously. Montclair is home for me. When I initially came to America, I landed in Montclair. So Montclair was home, and my mentor was in Montclair. So I decided to go to Montclair and open up a second salon. When you have a dream, what I hear most people do is fear. It just cripples a lot of people. Unfortunately for me, I jump and the nets always appear.